Left Barrel Racing podcast is brought to you by Washington State Barrel Racing Incentives.
We are here to provide you with unique stories, pertinent information, and all things Northwest Barrel Racing.
WSBRI is supported by Tight Joints Plus. They have been in the process of development for over 20 years, and the ingredients are backed by years of research. Tight Joints Plus is helping support the healthy joint, maintain flexibility, improve the viscosity of the synovial fluid, and alleviate discomfort associated with daily exercise and training. Another one of WSBRI's wonderful sponsors is Evergreen Equine Veterinary Practice. EEV is now offering stud and brood mare programs at a brand new reproduction center located in Sylvania, Washington. They can provide a la carte or a full menu of services in a state-of-the-art facility, a full lab for flushing and preparing embryos for transfer or shipment, a clean, controlled, comfortable environment for stallion collection, fresh and frozen semen storing, shipping and management of equine sperm, and artificial insemination.
This is the first ever WSBRI podcast. We are the Washington State Barrel Racing Incentive co-founders. I'm Lindsay. This is Kaylee.
Hi.
We are bringing this to our state and the Northwest because we feel like we have a great community of barrel racers, producers, companies, businesses, people that support this sport we love, and we want to grow it. And we know how great we are, and we want the rest of the country to know how great we are up here. So that is our mission.
We're spreading the word.
We are spreading the word.
Yes. About our corner of the world.
Yep. In barrel racing.
Yep.
And the stallions we have up here, the breeders we have up here, the competitors we have up here. We have a lot of great people up here. So,
and people just don't know,
No,
so
we're easily forgotten about or written off. And that is what stemmed this for me. Is I dabble a little bit in the breeding world, and incentives are very popular right now in barrel racing for breeding purposes. And I was trying to play my part in that and raise babies that would benefit from those incentives. And I kind of got flipped the bird by a couple of these organizations. And I said, what the heck?
I think a lot of people did.
I think a lot of people, yeah. Judging by social media, a lot of people felt totally screwed over.
Yeah.
So anyways, there was a lot of posts going around and people had some good ideas. And instead of just sitting back and complaining, I kind of felt like, all right, why not me? Why don't we do something? So Kaylee, this is her first year with a futurity horse. So the incentives mean a little bit more to her this year than they ever have.
Yep.
And she's newly graduated.
Yep.
Adulthood is staring her in the face, and she wants to be able to barrel race too. So this hits close to home for her. And I brought her in and said, you want to do this with me?
And I said,
poor girl.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She kind of pitched the idea to me, and I had the time, and I just said, let's do it. Yeah. And I have the same reasoning as her. I want to bring people up here. I want to bring their attention up here. I want to have people travel up here to go to some of our big barrel races that a lot of people don't even know about, and these producers put so much work into. So we're here to give them the credit. We're here to give the sponsors the credit. And the talent that we have up here is huge. And, and the problem is that the talent has to travel elsewhere to get the money and the recognition that they deserve. And so we want it to be vice versa, and people to come up here to do that. So that's kind of why we started.
And for everybody listening, I brought Elizabeth Critton in on this because she has a little bit of knowledge as far as trying to build a business, starting podcasts. And she's a barrel racer. So I'm like, perfect person to help us launch this, to help us get the information out there. And if she has questions, I'm sure you all do too. So this will better help us to explain what we're trying to do here. So thank you for being with us, Elizabeth, and giving us your Friday morning.
Yeah, no, it's great because I know that this is important to you. I know that, being your friend, Lindsay, I know that if you're going to do something, you're going to do it well. It's going to be integritous, and it's going to not be just for you. It's going to be for a vast majority of people, and it's going to be a solution to a problem or a need. And so I'm really excited to hear more about it. And I guess, I mean, I do barrel race, but I'm very like small town local and all these things. So it's so good that I'm like naive to incentives, and I don't know exactly, you know, like how would someone be a part of this? Like how would they benefit from it? And can you just talk to me about like, you know, the person that is going to get involved? What's that ideal person look like? Like what are they looking for? How do they do it? How do they get involved? How do they invest? How do they plant the flag with you and then have a chance to benefit from the incentives that your program offers?
Well, one of our biggest sort of goals, like from the very beginning when we started, was that we wanted everybody to be able to be involved. Doesn't matter what horse you have, what their breeding is like. It doesn't matter how much money you've won in the past. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Like we wanted anybody to be able to join and run and have a chance to win good money. So that is where we came from. And we kind of started with our barrel racing incentives, which is just 3 separate incentives where you pay a one-time fee per year and then to nominate your horse. And then you just go run in Washington State. You go to any barrel race anywhere in Washington State. And anytime you win money, you take a photo of the earnings and then you submit it to us. But the kind of trick to getting everybody to be able to win money in the year-end payout is it has to be at least a 4D race. It could be 5D, so 4 or 5D race.
Has to be open to everybody. So
yes.
You know, a senior class doesn't count because that's only for 50 and over. A futurity class doesn't count because that's only for a certain group of horses. This first year, it's all about making sure everybody has a chance. Mm-hmm. Incentives are usually for a small group of people that breed to a certain horse or can afford the incentive fees. And we want to be for the majority of people. So pretty much if it doesn't support barrel racing as a whole in our state, we don't, you know, that's not our goal. We don't want to cater to that. So an open race, meaning open to anybody can enter it, any age, any horse, and pays out in a 4 or 5D. What was I going to say next? Oh, and then we also, because like you said, you don't go very far to barrel race, we've divided it into 3 categories. There's a statewide incentive, there's a west side incentive, and there's an east side incentive. You can mix and match. You can nominate statewide and west side. You can nominate all 3. You can stick just to your side of the mountains. It's totally up to you. I tend to travel all over the state to compete. So for me, I would do all 3. Mm-hmm. But if you're only staying on the west side this year, you know, you plan to just do like our local NBHA District 1, I would say probably just do the west side incentive.
Yeah, like for me, I'm different than Lindsay. I don't travel as much to the east side, maybe for a couple bigger races like, you know, Sand Cup or PGW or something like that. But I'm not going over there very often. So I'm going to stick to the west side and the statewide incentives. And it's just different for everybody. And we wanted to just make a place for everybody to be and put their money into and have a good chance of getting it back. Plus more.
So tell me a little bit about like how the incentive winners are chosen or how you win. Like, let's say I sign up and I'm like going to do these local races and I'm taking pictures and sending you guys pictures of the checks that we're winning at the 40 races or 5D or whatever. At the end of the year, how do you guys determine who wins? Like, how does that work?
So by submitting your winnings to us, you snap a picture of your results from wherever you go. Like, let's say you go to the Luck of the Draw race coming up in March in Linden. You win a pretty good 3D check. You take a picture of those results. You text them to us. We are keeping a running total of all your winnings for the year. So every time you text in results, we're adding it to your total. And then at the end of the year, there's going to be someone that made X amount of dollars. That's our high money winner. And then we go on down from there. And we're going to pay back the top 20% of money winners in that incentive. So if there's 100 people that nominated in the West Side, the top 20 money earners will get paid back. Does that answer your question? I hope so.
So they'll get paid back, like you match what they earned, or how does that work?
So no, so we have, by collecting nomination fees, and we're working hard on getting sponsors, we have a pot, kind of like a race. You're running at a race with added money. We have the same thing. And so if you're in that top 20% of money earners, you're going to get, a piece of this year-end pot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we pay back. So no, we do not match what you have already won. We hope to add to what you have already won.
By a lot. Yeah.
Like a royalty. And as this grows and as you guys continue to get sponsors and all of those things and continue to add good value and structure for the horse community, those royalties could be quite impressive, right?
Yeah. We hope in the next few years to be in the tens of thousands of dollars of added money to the incentives. We want people to, the whole goal, as we said in the beginning, is for people to be traveling up here to run in our races, to be able to win this big money that they can't get elsewhere, or that matches what they can get elsewhere. We just want to bring notoriety to the work that's being put in up here. So yeah, we hope to add quite a bit of money in the next few years. And by the end of this year, I think that we're honestly going to have a pretty big pot.
Yeah. So we have some great producers in our area already, as Kaylee mentioned a few of them, but there's also some new stuff coming up. There's Clark County Saddle Club has a 10,000 added race on their calendar this year. Salcombe is partnering, Rocky Top Arena is partnering with George and Mitzi Frick to put on a really big added money race up here. New race producers are popping up. So we feel like we have the races. Some people commented they'd like us to put on a finals, and it's like, we already have the producers working really, really hard. We don't necessarily want to discourage you from going to their finals. We just want to give you another reason to go to their finals, if that makes sense. So we already have a great community of barrel racing, or a network to go to. You can travel all year long, big, small, whatever you want to do. And we are all about encouraging you to go. And you know what, if you go and you have a good year and we can send you a $5,000 check at the end of that year, that stimulates you to go next year and lets you take better care of your horse, get some injections that you haven't. And all of a sudden, because of us, you're able to go more, you're taking better care of your horses, you're buying a supplement that you haven't been able to afford before, whatever, everything we do, every question we ask ourselves goes back to, does this support and grow barrel racing in our state? That's our only motive here.
Yeah, it really is.
I love that. And it's almost like it almost incentivizes like your desire to want to go to bigger races where they pay more money, because then you can, send that picture of that check in and it'll add to your total. So that's really cool. I was just thinking, it's like, there's been a feeling from what I'm deriving from this conversation of like stagnancy and just like treading water in the barrel racing community. And you're like planting a flag and being like, no, like, why not here? Like, we can have revival in the barrel racing community here. And I think that's so important for the health and like of the sport. And so I love that. I love that so much. And I think that it's really exciting, because I know your heart is not only to have that like systematically working and benefiting like financially, but it's going to be so much more than that, just because I know Lindsay well, I know, what God put in her heart, and like how she's always thinking about how to help other people. And so just if you guys have anything on that, like as far as the podcast goes about your platform on social media, like as this grows, so does the responsibility, and that's a privilege to lead. It's a privilege to influence. It's a privilege that you're getting entrusted to plant this flag, as you know it's a need and you know it's a solution and you know it's going to provide something great for people, but you don't want to just provide a way to do barrel racing. You want to provide value. And so can you share with me a little bit about your vision on where your hearts are and what kind of value you want to add to the horse community as we're all moving forward in this revival season?
Yeah, at the beginning, I think we asked each other a lot. Well, I think when Lindsay pitched the idea to me, she was kind of like, I don't know, should we do it? Like, we don't, is it gonna hold traction? Are people gonna want to join and all this stuff? And I'm kind of an impulsive person. Lindsay's like very thought oriented and she really takes her time, and I'm just like, let's do it. I'm like, let's just pedal to the metal, let's go. And so I was like, yeah, I think people will buy in. I think that they'll kind of see where we're coming from and what we want to do because of what you said about treading water. I think that everybody up here in our sport really feels that, and people are moving to where there's more barrel races because they want to compete more, and and people are having to travel every year, and people are thinking that there's going to be big barrel races up here, and then they move them down to Oklahoma again, and now there's 3 days of traveling involved with going to one big race. So yeah, I think that we definitely had some hesitations, but then we kind of were like, it's not just us.
Yeah, I come up with a lot of ideas all the time, and I can usually talk myself out of them in like 12 hours. I'm like, okay, if it's 12 hours, I still am excited about this, then I'll, pursue it a little more.
Yeah.
And so I kept getting more excited and having more ideas. And I'm like, okay, like I really feel deep down, this is going to work. This is going to make people excited. This is going to lead to more opportunities. Like I just keep thinking about what this could lead to.
Mhm.
I think about like, gosh, wouldn't it be cool if we could put some money into a race in Oregon? So if a Washington barrel racer travels down to Oregon to this big race, they have a chance to win this extra money for being from Washington, And then I think like, what if we made an elite incentive for our rodeo goers and our WBRA racers and our slot race winners? Like, what if they could have a chance because they have this phenomenal horse? Like, I know what it takes to have a horse that can go win a pro rodeo. I know how special those horses are. They deserve a spotlight too, from being in our area and coming up here. And so I think of that. And then I think of like, how else can we get more people involved in this? And then we came up with the pole bending incentive too. And like, I can't believe, I'm blown away by how much traction this pole bending thing is getting, which just proves to me people are looking for something else to do. Like we already are paying for these horses, taking such good care of them, devoting every spare cent we have pretty much into their health and happiness. And what is one other thing we could do to have more fun with these horses, to go travel more? And, it's a social thing for us to see our friends more and to give these race producers one more thing to do to make it a little bit more worth their time. And I'm just super excited by the traction the pole bending is getting.
Oh my gosh,
It
I
just
can't believe it.
I know, it just proves to me like people are looking for more to do with these horses that we love so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really exciting to me. So I don't know, it's just the opportunities are endless. I had a breakaway roper reach out to me and say, can we do a breakaway roping incentive? I'm like, yikes, like that is so outside of my wheelhouse. I don't even know, but why not? Like,
Yeah,
we're so lucky to have a sport that is, you can get your competitiveness out in it, at any age,
Mhm.
camaraderie, socializing, you can bring your kids up doing it. Grandparents can do it, aunts, uncles. And I want to grow that. And there's something like loving a horse, and anybody who's understands the connection with horses and these animals. I just think we're so lucky, like, to have these animals that are willing to do this for us for our own enjoyment, and anything we can do to bring attention to that, to encourage people to give it a try, I'm all for it. I think as much as I am not a fan of COVID, it has shown us like how lucky we are to have a living creature outside our door to go connect with. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's where I get excited every time I think about what this could grow into, because I feel so fortunate that God put horses in my life and gave me the parents that I have that, you know, love horses and brought me up doing this. And I want more people to let their kids try it.
Yeah.
Let their kids get a horse. Get that pony.
Man, that's awesome. That's so good. I know. And like horses are like, we don't realize it because we do it as a sport and we're competitive and all this. So we forget how good for the soul horses are. Like they are therapeutic, and it's so good for the condition of our soul as humans. So tell me, I want to circle back around to, I've been seeing you post about the pole bending incentive, but like I said, I haven't really like dug in. Like, I'm like, well, I don't know what she's doing. Like, so tell me a little bit about this. So people are going out and they're running poles at like a competition and then reporting back. Is that what's happening? Their times?
Yeah. We have, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I talked a lot.
We have two different pole bending incentives, and we kind of went back and forth on whether we should do one or two. I personally, well, and Lindsay too, but I grew up gaming, and the gaming community is like, so I was like, we have to include them. Like they have to be a part of this somehow. And so that's kind of where we came up with the quarterly incentive. It's not based on money, it's based on times.
So I love this one, and I think it's going to get really big, and it really excites me, because that means Wasset kids, you know, the high school equestrian teams, they run poles at their meets. A Wasset kid or a junior rodeo kid or a high school rodeo kid can run poles at their event and submit that time or roll that time into our virtual quarterly race. So I don't believe Wasset runs for any type of payback at all. But by running poles there and participating, they could potentially get paid back at the end of the quarter for that pole run. Or we have really great games associations in our area, Stillaguamish Valley Horsemen and Snohomish County Western Games. They run for like $4. That's what their payback is. But there are some great pole benders out there, you know, and they could roll that time at their game show that it costs them $25 to go to. They could roll that time if they've entered our quarterly incentive and potentially win $200-300. I would love to grow these virtual pole bendings into like a 200 entry race. I would love to send a gamer $1,000 check for their pole run. Like, it's not about money in gaming, and I love that, and I appreciate that. You don't have to pay very much to go game. It's not about winning money, but dang, can you imagine getting $1,000 check for the Stillaguamish Valley Horseman pole run? You know, I just think that would be so cool. And there again, by doing that, we're stimulating. Now that person maybe can go to a barrel race. That person can go to an Omoxie they've never been able to afford. That person can take better care of their horse. That, you know what I like? So it's not all about the money, but unfortunately owning horses is expensive. So
yeah, that's true. And you know, even though gaming is for fun and all that, poles is hard. And if you're like delivering great runs, it'd be really cool to have a little bit of, you know, something coming back to you after all of that hard work and investment. And I love that. So have you guys, I know the pole bending incentive is already going. How, as far as like pricing and stuff, like how much is the pole bending incentive costing? That was my first question. Like if I wanted to sign up, what would I pay for the quarter?
$30.
$30.
that's the quarterly virtual race. So that is like, so we're in the first quarter right now, January 1st through March 31st. So it's $30 entry fee. You can roll multiple times. So like, I'm probably going to run polls 5 or 6 times in this first quarter. I'm going to keep submitting my times. And then the best one, my fastest time, is going to get used in the race. And then we also offer a year-end incentive because we have, I keep saying this, but we have the best producers in our state, and they're just like on board. They're like, okay, pole bending jackpots, let's do it. So now there's pole bending jackpots, just like a barrel racing jackpot. You pay an entry fee, your time gets put into a 4D format, you get paid back in a 4D format. So like down in Yelm, they have quite a few of these. If you're going and winning money in polls, you can A, roll that poll time to our virtual race, and then B, because you just won money, we offer a year-end incentive that is exactly the same as our barrel racing incentive. And that's $50. Did I say that? That's $50 for the year-end, $30 for an entry into our virtual pole bending.
And your earnings, so like say you enter both, you enter the quarterly and you enter the year-long incentive, because you're going to game shows, but you're also going to these jackpots where you might win a little bit of money for pole bending, and you can submit your earnings and your times. If you win money in the quarterly, that's going to count towards your year-end earnings.
Yeah.
So they kind of play into each other if you end up doing both. So yeah.
That's really cool. So your incentive money actually counts for your year end. You guys are getting me excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my horse back in shape and go and
WSBRI is also supported by BioStar. They empower dog and horse owners with 100% authentic nutrition and supplements. Their wide range of supplements, treats, and poultices made of real ingredients are formulated with the whole body in mind. They are passionate about the health of your animals as well as the planet and guarantee each of their products. WSBRI is also sponsored by the Bony Pony. Whether you're looking to outfit your horse, yourself, or your farm, come take a look at what they have and meet their friendly staff. They have in stock English and Western apparel, saddles, tack and gifts, as well as home decor, blankets, footwear, and general horse supplies, and lots more.
Okay, so I'm excited because what I was hearing you say, Lindsay, is just like you have all these ideas and you couldn't stop thinking about this, and like I just want to say good job. Hold on. Good job on saying an obedient yes to doing this, because so many times when we know we're in the right lane and we're like, okay, here's this thing and I have to say yes to, but I can't see the next things. Like there will be faithful next things, but so many times we just have to say an obedient yes first. And that's what I see you guys doing. And I'm so excited and have so much confidence in that. So good job listening and just having that servant heart for your community.
Thank you.
And then question, as far as like the barrel racing incentives, is this just going to be a year-end incentive? Are you guys going to do quarterlies for that? What's the pricing structure? Have you guys figured that out yet? Are you in the process? Just to dig a little deeper.
So our prices, I figured I'm kind of cheap. I spend a lot of money on my horses. So that was definitely something we figured out right from the very beginning. I think people not need to realize, but I hope people realize we are 2 barrel racers with day jobs doing our best to support our habit. So all our prices, all our decisions about this come from that foundation. We are really not planning on making any money off this. The other bad thing is Kaylee and I are both givers. Like, you know, I have a daughter and I would rather just give her Christmas presents a month early than, cause I'm just a giver. It makes me excited to see people get things. Not great to have 2 of those people starting a business like this, because unfortunately we just want to give everything away.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, oh God, one of us needs to lay down the law and say no more free stuff. Oh gosh. But so statewide incentive, $100 for the year. If you want to add on a side to that, east or west, $75. If you only want to do east or west, you don't want to do statewide, it is a bit more expensive because we are going to take some of that money and put into the statewide incentive, because our goal is to encourage supporting producers all across our state, not just your producer within 30 minutes of your house. We want to encourage traveling a little bit and, you know, seeing the different arenas and meeting new people in our sport. So if you want to just nominate for like west side, it'd be 125. So it is more expensive because we take some of it and put it into the statewide.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
We really want that. I mean, we want everybody to get paid a lot, of course, but we really want that statewide incentive to be what's drawing people to travel all over the state and support all the producers and support all the sponsors and do all that. So that's why we're taking some of the money from the individual sides and putting it into the statewide, is we want that to be the star of the show, kind of.
Yeah. We also have hopes to grow to include Oregon and Idaho in the next couple years, to become a Northwest thing. Instead of just a statewide thing. But I personally know our state and know the barrel racing in our state and know a lot of the producers in our state.
Yeah.
So that's why we started out there. We wanted to get our feet under us, troubleshoot,
Figure out
what works, what, you know, what people like, what people don't like, and then expand. So, you know, maybe one day we could have a Washington, Idaho, Oregon. And then maybe we do have a finals. I don't know. This, like, the sky's the limit with this, and that's exciting, but we want to do a really good job for our state first.
Yeah.
And
We
then
actually started on our business license, it says Northwest.
Yeah.
Barrel
Like, we have
racing
goals.
incentives. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're like,
we
we do plan to spread, but yeah, this first year we were like, we just got to like figure out what the heck we're doing and get organized. And
Yeah. But our pole bending incentives do include Oregon and Idaho. So yeah, that is something we should have mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to, because we know there's pole bending is new. We want it to grow. So we thought, you know, to get more people involved, include Idaho and Oregon, and hope that adds more money to the pot and gets more people interested in this. And maybe someone will step up and want to start an Oregon one, and we can help them start their own Oregon barrel racing incentive. We don't know what this is going to turn into, but
yeah. And we actually, right before we got on this call, we were like, oh my gosh, producers are really adding pole bending to their races. Like already we have producers that don't usually do it, adding a pole bending jackpot to the end of their race. And we have like, there's a whole pole bending series coming up that we're super excited about. So yeah, it's already happening. We're just like kind of keeping our fingers crossed.
I love that. That's amazing. I think that's awesome. And I love your hearts for like, okay, we're just going to do well with what we have, like however this grows, and steward really, really well. And then that's the best thing. And I think that like building those relationships and like you guys are saying, like with even having a podcast and having people on the podcast that add value. And so it's not just like this movement of, you know, everything that you have that's practical and awesome and great that is doing something, but even more so, you guys are going above and beyond and giving from the overflow of your heart to provide, you know, free education, knowledge, and all those things as you guys move forward with the podcast. And I think that's really cool. So, and I'll help you guys with creative ideas for how to get money. Make money for yourself and not doing everything volunteer. Merch.
Yeah. Yes, that's coming. That's in the works.
Yeah.
But we also want to make sure people know we are offering side pots.
Yes.
And
so excited.
Giveaways
Like, so excited.
and giveaways, as well as the year-end payouts. So there's multiple ways to make money. Like if your horse is kind of inconsistent and you think like, I don't know if this is smart for me. Well, if we have a side pot in your area and you go and run, and because you're nominated, you have a chance at this money that other people don't have a chance at, you could get paid back. You could pay your nomination fee right there in just that side pot. So this first year, I don't know how it's going to go in the future. Things are going to, we're going to have to adjust things and find out what really works and what people like and what they don't like. But for this first year, we're really all about giving back and proving what we're trying to do for our sport. So we're going to have 4 side pots that pay back money, no extra entry fees. We're going to have some awards side pots, meaning you're not running at money, but you're running at maybe some supplements that one of our sponsors have, donated. And then we have giveaways too. We're working with some great business owners in our state that have given us some merchandise to give away to our nominees. So
yeah,
we're overwhelmed by the amount of support we've had from business owners because we're so lucky in our state. Like we have some really great business owners, and we're excited to remind everybody of that and encourage people to please support the people that are supporting your sport, because it's that sponsorship money that gives us something to go run at. Otherwise you're just running at somebody else's entry fee that they're not going to win back. But it's those sponsors that actually let you make the money to pay for a couple races in the future, not just cover your fees and fuel for that weekend. So that's a big thing to us, is making sure we are reminding people on a regular basis, you have to support the people that are supporting our sport.
Yeah. And I think also maybe we should explain what a side pot is, because I think a lot of people might be unfamiliar with that.
True.
But basically our side pots, we take added money and we put it towards basically something that you roll your time into. So you show up at the barrel race, you run in the barrel race, and we just have our side pot just on the side. It's not something you run at, you just roll your time into the side pot, and it's nominee only. So only people that are nominated at that race are going to have their time rolled. And then you're competing against those people. So maybe you got 5th in the barrel race, but you got 1st in the side pot because everybody 1 through 4
did not nominate,
was not a nominee. And so now you've won this extra money for free, which
or you didn't make any money in the race, but because you were eligible for that side pot, you made money in the side pot and not the race.
Yeah.
If I fell in a crack kind of thing, like in the divisions, but no one that beat me in the 1 and 2D entered or whatever, I could fall into the side pot and then have a little glimmer of hope. Finally win money. I like hope. I love hope. That's so great. Oh, that's good. Okay, I like that. Thank you for explaining that, Kaylee. I think that's awesome. I think over communication and explanation is helpful because it makes people feel like, okay, I know how to navigate this and what it is, what to do. My question is how do people find the information? So I'm sure you guys have a website. But is that the best place to go to be like, okay, what races are incentivized or have side pots or whatever? And that kind of thing. Like, is it staying plugged into your website and just checking? Do you guys have emails that come out? Do you have automated text messages? What's that looking like?
So we have a website that has all the information you could possibly need. It's WSBRI.org. And we have pages for our pole bending incentives, our barrel racing incentives. We have FAQs, we have contact forms, we have everything you could need, and you can nominate online. Now we made payment forms so you can actually do that. You can also, and you'll see on our nomination page, we have 2 options where you can mail in your nomination, or you can just type in your info and pay online. But we also have, I would say, if you are a nominee or you want to be a nominee, or you're just interested in what we're doing and you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, that's where we're posting information real time. So that's where you're probably first going to learn about our side pots, our giveaways, races that are being canceled. We have on our website, we've got tons of kind of perks, if you will. Like we have a Washington barrel race calendar that has every single barrel race in Washington state on it, on a Google Calendar. So, and when you click on the race, it tells you where to go to enter. So that's really cool. We have a Stallion page where we've posted all of the flyers for all of the Northwest stallions that we've received. I mean, there's a lot on there, but I'm sure we're kind of just receiving them and posting them as we go. But
we're trying to make a one-stop shop as far as
Our
barrel
website.
racing in our state. Yep, that's our website. So every week I search over 30 Facebook pages to keep up with anything that has to do with barrel racing in Washington.
Yeah.
I search individual people's Facebook pages because they put on races at their own little arena. I search arena Facebook pages. I search groups. I search 30. I'm talking about like individually and scrolling through their feed. It sucks, but that is what barrel racing has come to in our state is everything's on Facebook. Well, not everybody is going to spend the time to do that.
mm-hmm.
And I know that, and I've missed pertinent information because I don't spend the time doing that. So one of my biggest things was I want a calendar with every race in Washington on it.
Yep.
So if you go to our website, you will find that calendar and you will find as much information as we can give you there, or you'll find the website to go to, the Facebook page to go to learn more, the producer's phone number. Sometimes that's all we can give you because literally the race is only on Facebook. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm really proud of our calendar. We work really hard on that calendar.
Yeah.
And I'm putting all that Facebook time to good use for the barrel racers of Washington. So,
Yeah.
and then our stallions, again, we're just trying anything we can do for our sponsors that get people coming to our site and looking at our site and seeing who's sponsoring us. That's what kind of gave us the idea of the stallion page. And we have some great bloodlines and some great mares and sires up here. And it's a one-stop shop for that. There's beautiful flyers that people have spent a lot of money on, and you can come and find any breeding that you kind of want to right up here in the Northwest. So
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was going to ask, like, with the calendar on Google, because I don't know, I'm not that techie, but can you like sync those events with your Google Calendar? Is that possible? Yeah.
Yeah, you can, if you click on an event, so if you go to our website, you go to the Washington Barrel Race calendar, and then the calendar is interactive. So you click on it, it pops up with how can you enter, where should you go, a link maybe, whatever we could find. And then it will, at the bottom, it says like add to your Google Calendar. So yeah, you can add whatever barrel race you want to go to or you're interested in, you can add it to your own calendar, which is cool.
yeah, I didn't even know that. See, that's why I brought her on.
We all have different strengths. That's good. So how can I and anyone else that's listening that's super excited, how can we help aside from joining and investing for the incentive? What else can we do, like on social media or word of mouth or whatever? Like, how can we help build the snowball of momentum for revival in the barrel racing community through what you girls have said yes to? How can we do that? What are some action-oriented things that I can personally do, like on social media or whatever, to help you guys forge forward in this?
So I was thinking about this on the way here. The power of taking a few minutes to talk to people, like when you go, whatever store you go to buy your horse supplies, your whatever, take the time, to kind of talk to the business owner, talk to the worker there, ask if they know about us, ask if they know about a race going on in your area. We need to stimulate the conversation between customers and sponsors, and reinforce that relationship. Because we've reached out to some bigger companies in our area and they were pretty much like, nah, we don't need any more business, and it's like, if that's how they feel about us and our sport, like how we need to strengthen that relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was one thing I thought, like, take a few minutes to say, oh, I'm a barrel racer. I love coming to your store. I love buying your stuff. So if a producer goes to that store in the future and says, hey, I'm trying to put it on an event, will you sponsor it? We want them to say, oh yes, we love barrel racers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that's happening right now. We're so quick to just get in and get out. And now we have masks on, lovely, so that's one thing that I was thinking would really help. But then for us personally, we are just trying to make our sport well known. So please follow us, share our stuff, tell your friends, be an advocate for what we're doing. That's really what we need right now, because by going out and talking to these companies and making them aware of barrel racing in our state, they need to know what they're getting out of it. And so we need to be able to say, no, we have this many followers. We're reaching set amount of people every week.
Mhm.
And we could be using this audience to tell them what you're doing for their sport and why next time they need a pair of Ariat boots, they shouldn't go to the Ariat website, because Ariat only sponsors Texas.
Mhm.
Sorry. I mean, that might not be true, but it's well known, like Classic Equine has no reason to sponsor us up here because they're based down in Texas. So they're going to sponsor stuff down in Texas. Well, okay, the Bony Pony is a store that carries Classic Equine,
Mhm. We
but but
could
they
support them.
sponsor you, a Washington barrel racer. They have given you added money to go run at. Tight Joints Plus, there is huge sponsor in our area. We have a lot of them. We have Equerries. They don't sponsor us personally. LMF,
Mhm.
we have a lot of great companies up here. But when you go shop, think about that first. If you can, think like not necessarily what's the easiest, but think of how could this circle around and affect my sport up here that I love. That's just one big thing. But of course, social media is important. Like, comment, share.
Yeah.
The more interaction we can get for our sponsors and for our sport, the better. We're trying to promote every race. Every time we see pertinent information about a race, we're putting it out there for you. So if you have a question, check our social media accounts. Definitely check our calendar. But just talk
Email
about
us.
us. Yeah. And if you go to our main sponsors right now are Evergreen Equine Vet, the reproductive specialists, Tight Joints Plus, the Bony Pony, and BioStar US. If you use them, tell them why you're using them.
Yeah.
That helps us too, and that helps prove what we're trying to do for them.
And there were two things that like popped into my mind when you said what can people do, and I think we really want people to know, it's easy to see like, oh, buy into this incentive, or somebody shares a post about our side pots or something on Facebook, and so you kind of get a glimpse of what we're doing. But we really want people to know like our heart and why we're doing it, and that we really do want to help. We're not just trying to grab your money. Like, that's not our goal at all. And so just sharing this podcast so that people can hear what we have to say, sharing our Facebook page where we're interacting with people every single day, stuff like that. That's just really helpful. Things that really get people and word of mouth, telling people what we're doing, and not only what we're doing, but why we're doing it. Getting people excited for the growth of our sport in this area. That's really helpful.
A lot of big races advertise life-changing checks. Well, you got to drive 3 days.
Yeah.
Spend thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Take time off work.
Yeah.
For a chance to run at those life-changing checks. And we up here are like, no. Why don't you travel to us for a life-changing check?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we advertise a life-changing check? So that's kind of where I'm at. I would love to go run at those life-changing checks. I can't travel down to Oklahoma and Texas 4 times a year.
Mm-mm.
So
no.
And you know what I love about you guys is that so many people would, move or complain or stay small scale, but they are just, like, it's easy to be a complainer rather than a doer. And I just think it's very admirable and courageous that you guys are like, why not us? Like, we can do this. We can make people want to come here. We don't have to go. We don't have to spend, 3 days away from our family and all of this money. Like, so good job. Like, that's amazing. And we need that to rub off on more people, and just good job on planting the flag. And I'm really excited. So those were really helpful tips on how we can help. And I just know that this is a really awesome first step for you guys, and that the next steps are going to be revealed. And ultimately, we don't know what the full big picture is, but as long as you feel that like confidence and peace, and just continue to have the heart that you do. Like, it's going to be so good and so much better and different than you even could have dreamt up. So I am excited, and I'm so glad. You guys have anything else you want to share before we wrap up, or do you feel like that was good? It covered a lot of it.
I hope we covered most of it, but I do want to add a big thank you to you, Elizabeth. You are the expert in this stuff.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, Elizabeth is a barrel racer, and she's a mother, and she is a very strong spiritual leader amongst everybody. She's definitely one of my best friends and who I go to about everything. She has started Bloom Strong, which is it is so much, but if you're ever feeling lost or needing motivation or wanting to connect and strengthen your relationship with God and other people that believe and want to, improve their lives like you do, Bloom Strong is the place to go. So thank you, Elizabeth. I know you're busy, but you did this for us. I thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what God does with this and all the people that benefit from it. So you're welcome. My pleasure. Anytime. I'm like fired up for you guys. So before we wrap up, let's revisit the website and the social media, where they can find you on social media. Then, yeah.
So our website is, we're good.
Sorry, just double checking.
Our website is WSBRI.org. And our Instagram and Facebook handle is WA State BRI. So you can find us both places there. I have a feeling that we are going to upload this Zoom video to YouTube.
Yep.
So
Hopefully.
yeah, so Washington State Barrel Racing incentives. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, this will also be on Spotify.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really know either. We're kind of like flying by the seat of our pants. But I also think we should, for our future like podcast episodes, that sounds so weird to say. Our future podcast episodes are going to feature tons of different guests from our industry. So we're going to interview people with breeding programs, people who have started businesses that pertain to our industry, people who are just your everyday barrel racer. We want to interview some gamers and get their perspective, horse trainers, pretty much anything you can think of that has to do with barrel racing. We're going to try to get info from people and kind of tell their stories, and yeah.
Yep. So, and if anybody wants to use us to advertise what they're doing, reach out to us. We love to work with other people that love our sport. So anything we can do to help, whether you're a producer, business owner, whatever, we are just doing our best to get this up and going. So any collaboration we can do to help you and you help us, we appreciate.
Yeah.
So good. Awesome, ladies. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see what happens with this. It's going to be so good.
Thank you for listening to the Upper Left Barrel Racing Podcast. Make sure you go check out our website at WSBRI.org. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at WA State BRI. And please leave a review on this episode. It helps us out a lot.